At least it's not a leaf blower. It snowed this morning.
Oh, morning, everyone. Welcome. Today's show is going to be about gratitude and giving thanks, and really the differences on when we say it in our minds and when we can project it as a feeling within our hearts. Today, I have joining me is Shania. You want to introduce yourself, please?
Good morning. My name is Shania Melland. I have a business called Soul Therapy. I do healings, tarot cards, and mediumship. And you can find me on Facebook under Soul Therapy or on Facebook under my name, which is Shania Melland.
Welcome. And I am Majestic Michelle. You can find me on healingwithmichelle.com and Healing with Michelle on Facebook, or even here on the group page, Mystical Mindsets. And today we have an interesting discussion with tomorrow being Thanksgiving and realizing what the real true meaning is. It's not what people are talking about today and what it's all about. It is actually about surviving and the people that helped the settlers survive this country. And what's here with Shania, we're going to just talk about like the gratitude and thankfulness. That was the perfect timing. So I know it's like as we're on this journey of learning to be grateful and have gratitude, it's an interesting journey because most people, when they start off with it, they start off with their heads. And we're taught from a young age that, when somebody holds a door, you say thank you. When somebody does this, you say thank you, or you say you're welcome, or, stuff like that. And it just becomes instinctual. But what happens when it doesn't leave the head to go into the heart for that true gratification on a soul level? Because that is where everything starts to manifest for us. So, Shania, have you experienced or met any of those people like through your journeys that are just like very instinctual? Everything's all in their head?
It's funny that you say it that way because I have, a lot of clients that are like victims or, like trauma victims, things like that. And they're just totally at a loss and have no light in their life. And one thing that and the energy they put out is, well, I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to be able to this, I'm never. And I always tell them, be careful of what you put out to the universe because that's what you receive. And I said, you need to, I tell them that they need to, kind of look at what they have, the blessings they have in their life, and, just put that out there. Thank you for my family. Thank you for my job. I said, just go through the motions and put that through to the universe. And eventually you're going to feel that and you're going to start building that thankfulness, that gratitude. And so, I kind of tell them to fake it till you make it, till that little light bulb clicks on and they actually feel what they have and stuff. So that's I probably not the best way to do things, but at least it gets them thinking about what they do have and not what they don't have. So
Exactly.
I tell them,
Great.
put it out there.
Yeah. I mean, I even tell people like start writing down like when you're in that mood, like at night or in the morning, write down 3 things that you're grateful for. Right then and there. First thing you wake up and before you go to bed. Because the first thing we think about and the last thing we think about is what comes into our world. And so if we can go to sleep or wake up being grateful, then that's going to move back into the heartfelt area. And then stay in the mind. And so what I've noticed is that, because I know I've been through a lot of trauma through my childhood and everything else that I've worked through, and it wasn't until I started to bring everything down into my heart space that I actually started to feel joy and true happiness. And it was interesting because I was like working through everything and going through everything. Like I taught my kids how to say thank you and why and how to appreciate things and everything else. And yet I never really figured out like how to bring it down into my heart space. Because growing up, I wasn't told like, oh, you got to say thank you or you got to say you're welcome. And, when somebody opens the door, you do this. I just heard other people do it. And so I started doing it. And so it stayed in my head for so long. And getting it out and that stuff was a little bit difficult at first. But then it's like when, I started writing down what I was grateful for morning and night. So I can wake up in that grateful mood and energy of life. And, we all do falter because I need to remember to do it on my hard days too, and not just on the good days.
Yeah, on my hard days, because every night when I pray before I go to bed or whatever, I do thank God thank you for my, I name my husband and my kids, and I'm like, thank you for all my other family and friends, our businesses, our vehicle, house, food, clothes, all that, and our health and happiness, whatever. But I know on the days that I'm crabby or, I've just had a horrible day, I just say it and I just go through the motions. But, when I'm having an awesome day and I feel fulfilled throughout the day, I'm like, wow, thank you. I am so blessed. I have this beautiful family, so it does depend on your mood as to how genuine you are with that gratitude.
Right? It really does. Yet I have met some people that, it stays all in their head and they have like this great, magnificent life. But the one thing they don't have is joy. And so this weekend, as we go into this weekend and we go into this next month, let's all remember to bring joy back into our lives and learn to laugh and have fun. This world has gotten too serious right now that we really need to bring in that joyfulness and the joyfulness from the heart. So when we can have that true grateful attitude coming from the heart, everything becomes a blessing, like you said. Everything becomes joyful. And we can, even our hard times, we can figure out why it's working for us or happening for us instead of going into this, oh my God, why is this happening to me kind of mode, which a lot of people get stuck on and in when they're constantly always in their head. Because then they don't know how to get out of it to realize, hey, there's something good in here. What is it?
And I would like to add to receive that joy or to be joyful. A lot of people are like, well, how do you obtain that? Life is crappy, whatever, I'm the stress of being with family, I can't stand, whatever. A good suggestion would be to be in the moment, live in the moment, instead of feeling your anxiety or your stress or your depression, or, oh my God, I still got to work tomorrow. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about yesterday. Live in the moment, see it in the present that it is, look around you and see what you have around you. And that will, you will more easily find that joy if you're present in the moment rather than thinking about yesterday and tomorrow.
That is so true, because everything happens in the present moment. Financial abundance happens in the present moment. Happiness, joyfulness, true gratefulness happens in the present moment. And I think I just froze for a little bit. Yep. Yet nothing, because there was times in my life where, man, I would daydream all day long and have anxiety because I didn't want the future, because I was afraid, because of, it's like I didn't have those coping skills. And I didn't realize why you needed to live in the present moment, because the present moment to my life at that time really totally sucked.
Right.
To be honest, I didn't want to be there. Right. So you kind of take the law of attraction, like, okay, you think about what you want, you kind of believe that you're living there. But if you're not in the present moment and going realization, like, this is what I have, you can't ever get to that future that you want. And so how do we get from where we're at and having gratitude and thankfulness to get what we truly desire.
Again, I think a lot of it is, every somebody always has it worse than you, and I know that's a crappy thing to say, but it can always be worse. And there is always you can always find something positive in every negative. There's always that positive to the negative. Because that's what energy is. um, so say I don't know, say you got in a car accident and you spilled your coffee and you're late to work or whatever, you're just having that worst day. There's still tiny, tiny little positives. At least it wasn't blizzarding or downpouring. At least you have that insurance. At least you have that friend or family member that could come and pick you up, or whatever. At least your boss was understanding. There's always something positive in every negative, and you might have to dig for it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you find those positives, really take that in and say, wow, there is actually somebody that understands what I'm going through, or wow, this really did help the situation. And to find, to dwell on the positive rather than the negative, that will grow that joy inside of you and that gratitude.
Exactly. I mean, when we focus on even just a little bit of positive on anything negative or dark that comes into our world, we're going to be able to banish that dark and say, hey, I don't want you in my life anymore, because I'm going to focus on this light and the positive within it, because that's what I want to accept. And eventually all that other stuff will just fade away too, because you won't be attracting all of that drama, trauma, crap stuff into your world, right? If you're thinking about and recognizing the light, like, oh, my boss was compassionate about my car breaking down today, or about this. So, oh my God, thank you. Or, this happened and I was able to get a ride to work, so I wasn't late, and, all this other kind of stuff. And so it's just really an interesting concept as we move through this world and into this new year of the 22. That, yeah, am I going right? 22.
Yeah.
The 22 number itself is a master number. 2022 is not. So it'll be an interesting time as we write down 2020 or 22, knowing that is a master number for manifestation. So as we go into this next year and being grateful, let's manifest the heck out of everything we truly desire this next year.
Amen to that.
Right? So it's interesting because I met some new people and that kind of stuff, and this last couple weeks, and how you run into people and you're like going, oh my God, you're supposed to meet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was at the hotel in the Grand Canyon, and I met this beautiful lady morning for breakfast, and we're talking. And it was like one of those mornings I just kind of left going, thank you for new friends.
That's awesome.
Because I'm like, going that morning, we're supposed to connect, we're supposed to talk. We had a great conversation that lasted like 2 hours.
I love
Complete
those.
strangers, but yet it's like we knew we had a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
And it was just a beautiful morning. And then it was that morning that I was leaving Arizona. So it was like a nice way to kind of say goodbye and leave.
Yeah.
And so I was so grateful for that, to be able to go, on my journey, I've got to see new places, meet new friends, explore new places. Some of them were not very fun, but some of them, it's like, hey, it's part of the journey, right?
Yeah, you grow from everything, right?
Right.
Whether good or bad.
Like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Houston, Texas, your road systems suck.
I saw that post.
Oh my God. I swear, I was like going, wait a minute. IHOP in the hotel was at probably 2 miles around, but I had to go do a 5-mile loop because they're all one-way streets. You can't get to it.
That's crazy.
Through side streets. And I'm just like going, oh, really?
Yeah, it'd be pretty stressful if, if it's a foreign area to you and to, have to try to navigate around all that crap.
Right? I mean, it was better in the morning because you could actually see, but at nighttime,
I suppose, yeah.
it's like going, okay, I'm like crap shooting it here in the dark.
What an experience.
It was, but one to say that, Houston, Texas, I'm sure you have your place in this world, but I don't ever want to go back there.
It doesn't have a place in your heart.
And I'm like, and that's okay because, I've had other great experiences. And, when you can laugh about it and go, it's all good. That's how it's like, you're not holding a grudge over it. You're not frustrated over it. Oh, that's the other thing with being grateful and thoughtfulness. I've seen in other people, I don't know if you've seen this, but if they're like in their minds, thankfulness, they can hold a grudge on things really quickly and really easy.
Yes, I would say that. I would agree with that because, yeah, they're holding on to it in a small area instead of, the large area of the heart or whatever. So it can't grow into, it can't manifest into that huge blessing or thankful or gratitude or whatever. And again, I think, with that, it's more of just a word or, just going through the motion part of it. And, they don't believe what they're thinking is what it is,
Right. Exactly. Because, I've seen that too. Like people they just hold on to that grudge. And I was like, okay, but you're saying thank you. But I'm like, oh yeah, it's in your head. Mm-hmm. It's what they're supposed to be doing versus it's, who they are. At first for a while, when I was first going through this transformational change, I would meet those people who are always grateful and like bubbly grateful for everything. And you're like going, please calm down. You're just too much for me today.
You're puking out the joyfulness.
And now today I was like, wait a minute here. I kind of understand why they're in that space. Of just constantly being in gratitude and grateful for every little thing that comes into the world.
It's still a little overbearing for me, but
it's still a little bit for me too, but at least now I can at least talk to them and
embrace it. Yeah.
I've done my healing enough to go, nope, we can sit and talk. We're good. Because there's one time where I'll be like, please back off. You're like the Antichrist. But today, no, not at all. So it's just interesting, like even on our journeys, how we've changed and how certain energies no longer affect us in the same way.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a perspective thing and a growth thing, like you said. I have this one girlfriend who is so bubbly and energetic, and I used to cringe when I'd see her coming, like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this, whatever. But now, and I'm not a hugger, but now I might even give her a hug once in a while, or but I do spend, when she does reach out to me, I don't usually reach out to her, but when she reaches out to me, I give her my time because there's so much I can learn from her. And I do absorb some of that energy being an empath. And I am not a high energy, joyful person or whatever. So I could use some of that in my life sometimes, just in small doses. And, there are definitely times I have to put an energy bubble around me so that, not all of it could come in because it does get overwhelming for me sometimes. But, there was a time that I would find that so freaking annoying, but I embrace it, and it's funny to me, and I try to absorb some of that energy. We all need that.
Yeah, we do. So it's interesting because I was raised in a household that are not huggers, and I am a hugger. And it was interesting to realize like some of the benefits of hugging and how most of us are taught to hug. Because when we're taught to hug, we usually go like from the right side to the right side, right? But we need to go left side to left side. So when we hug, we need to go heart to heart.
Yep. And I just learned that within this last year, about probably a
So,
year ago. I don't remember who taught me that, but yeah, you got to connect the heart when you hug.
right. Okay. So every 30 seconds, the heart connects, it resets the vibrational frequency.
I have not heard that either.
If you connect your heart for a minute hug, for a 60-second hug or longer, you actually start to regenerate each hug.
Interesting.
So when you have somebody who has heart issues and heart problems, just sitting there with that heart-to-heart hugging is going to help them regenerate and renew that heart. I mean, there's been studies done where older generations that have had heart issues, younger generations come in and their heart starts to just slow down.
Yeah, there's a ton of benefits, with anxiety and depression, and just a whole, a whole lot of emotion that can be healed from. I think it's 30 seconds. Well, there's benefits from 15, 30, 60 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
for each level or whatever. There's more and more benefits that come through to it. But I am not a hugger or a touchy-feely person. So I struggle with that. And sometimes my husband will try to hug me for that 60 seconds, and it feels like 60 minutes. That time just won't stop.
I can see that, especially when you're not used to it and you're kind of going, can we please release this embrace now?
Yeah. And I think he does it more to annoy me. I mean, he knows the benefits. He's like, oh, that 60-second hug or whatever, but yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah. And I tell my clients, it's like, the reason why we do it on this side here is because, we want to regenerate, redo our heart, connect. Here, it's empty, because if she got shot here, we would be able to survive.
Right.
If we got shot over here, we probably wouldn't. But over here, because there's not a lot of other stuff going on in there, that when you're doing a right hug to right hug, it's empty energy to empty energy, and you're doing more draining than you are anything else of each other. And so that's why it's like when you hug that way, you kind of walk away like going, really? That wasn't a hug. There was nothing to it, because there wasn't. And so when you do the heart to heart and you actually embrace and breathe into it, that is such an amazing feeling. And when both people can.
Right.
You got to be able to reciprocate.
I'm working on it. Oh, I have issues.
Oh, don't we all? Oh, yes. Well, so you guys, I think we're going to cut today's show a little shorter today, being Thanksgiving tomorrow. So you guys have a great, happy family day. Enjoy and be blessed.